Oh no,
Oh no.
we're on the internet. Hello, and welcome to the inaugural nostalgia fueled stream.
It's us.
It
We did
us.
it.
Yeah, I'm Val, they, them.
I'm Cole. They, them, with the bouncy head.
Yeah. We're like, how are we going to do this? I don't like being on camera. And Cole was just like, give me a minute, and made up this little avatar.
Some of my favorite thems. I don't know why that's so funny. Some of my favorite thems. Yeah, I don't Akira Toriyama passed away and it's been really sitting on me, I guess, in a way. With Sandland also getting a video game and an animation anime. I don't you know what I'm saying. Um, and Akira Toriyama was like super impactful on my Ute. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of I don't know. I think it started off kind of trying to be a Dragon Ball esque image, but then somehow like Sonic Adventures kind of crept in, and I ain't mad about it. But here I am now.
Yeah, and that's perfect, because this is nostalgia fueled, where we are going to mine the past to power our future.
Woo!
So Cole, what do we like, what is the idea for this stream series?
Whoa. Well, that's a very good question, but I'm so glad you asked me to help with this intro that I'm definitely prepared to talk about. Um, so we've talked about playing a lot of kind of modern contemporary games that are inspired by like retro mechanics or aesthetics or just like nostalgia. So you're today you're playing Lunacid, which is definitely inspired by is it King's Quest?
Kingsfield.
Kingsfield. Damn. Fuck. I did a cuss too. I'm so sorry.
I don't care.
But we're also talking about playing like ukulele and how it's inspired by like Banjo Kazooie and kind of N64 era platformers. And I think both of us have a real affinity for not only just like gaming and retro games, but like the concept, the feelings of nostalgia, whether they are, exciting Sonic Adventure 2 battle or, the little bit of like the longing sadness you have from not having your original 6 that took on the Elite 4 on your Game Boy, I think all of that is kind of powerful and impactful for us, and that's what we're exploring or starting to explore.
Yeah, I think that we both have an appreciation for nostalgia and also come at it from a different angle. I think that I'm a bit more antagonistic towards it than you. But I think that
uh,
there's something that can
I
be
would
mined from it. Like we can use
absolutely.
these thoughts and feelings to make new stuff in the future as long as we are aware of what we are doing.
And I would say maybe playful antagonism
Yeah,
because
sometimes.
yeah, because I'm definitely trying to explore gaming and the past in definitely like a weird space because it's not just like, yeah, I like old games, but it's like, you know, um there's certain Game Boy games that are incredibly evocative of like memories I have where it's like my dad had like a little handheld like tall, it looked like one of those boxy old cell phones, but it was a portable black and white TV. And I remember I used to take that and my mom would do water aerobics with some friends at a local pool and I would watch Darkwing Duck and I'd be playing, you know, uh, Super Mario Land and eating goldfish and just vibing on the side. Um, and I think I'm chasing those feelings, not necessarily like the memory or those actual tangible things, but like just that early 90s vibe that's not like a synthwave aesthetic vomit, you know? Like not the kitsch, but just the vibes.
Yeah,
Not the kitsch, just the vibes. I don't know how to describe it, but I think that's what we're kind of trying to explore here, I guess.
yeah. Nostalgia is something that's very hard to nail down, but as there have been more and more a lot of media, but we're gonna focus mostly on games that like try to either capture those old feelings or are trying to evoke those old feelings or are just based on things that were so important to us when we were younger. I think
Hmm.
it's kind of important for us to be considerate of how it is being used, when is it effective, when is it being used possibly maliciously to just like get you to buy in, so that you
Totally.
can kind of make more informed decisions.
Weaponized nostalgia.
Exactly. Give it a sword.
Give nostalgia a sword. Who was that? Carly Rae Jepsen? Yeah, it was Carly Rae Jepsen.
Sure, I believe it.
I had to I had to say it.
I wasn't ever
Tumblr
going to
people
stop you.
know.
So yeah, I think that that is probably enough for our little first intro. We should probably get into the game. But
I'm
Retro,
excited.
when you buy a new game, what is the best part? You go to Funko Land, you pick out a game, you're heading home,
Ooh,
you're excited. What do you do?
well, one, there is something. Okay, close your eyes, all
Close
of
them.
you, and you know when you get a. In my head, when you say like when you get a new game, I always think of like the original Game Boy or Game Boy Color packaging. So you get that little saran wrappy jazz off. So that's like a weird ASMR thing. We're not going to do that for you, but you can hear it. And then just the pop of that cardboard, with that tab that you open to get the cartridge out. So that's all exciting. And then the cartridge is in its little case. But you have to bust out that manual first.
Oh,
You got to
baby.
read everything about it. You got to know the controls. You need to know who you are, what you're saving, what you're doing, and why you hate the bad guy. So you got to get that manual out.
Exactly. Which is why before we jump to the game, we're going to check out the manual.
Oh yeah.
So this Lunacid doesn't have any physical media, but I always think it's really neat when people who make games make physical, like the even just like conceptual physical media. Right now, Crow Country is creating a lot of like 90s style ads and magazine interview things and just like really fun and cool stuff, which we will probably look at when we play that. But some people have gone back to including manuals in their games, and it's completely unnecessary. They don't have to do this, but it's really cool to be able to flip through this and have that sort of feeling of being in the car waiting to get home to your game system and just like learning about the world through the manual. So I figured we would take a little bit of time and go over the manual for Lunacid. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it because we will go through most of it as we play the game, but I do think that it is worth acknowledging that this is a thing that exists. It's a part of the nostalgia, and I want to spend at least a little bit of time looking it over. Uh,
Absolutely.
so we've got our cover here that is very much inspired by Shadow Tower, which is not a Kingsfield game, but it is a game that sort of spun off from the Kingsfield game. We'll talk a little bit about that later. You've got your standard warning, take
Mm-hmm.
care of yourself, and also the game dev who made this, Kira, has a lot of fun with little things. So there's little notes of, this product is known to cause other mind-boggling effects, such as losing touch with reality, lucid dreams, night terrors, fantastic visions of an impossible future full of curses and magic and headaches. If you or a loved one is affected by a skeleton, then these effects can become more pronounced, which is
That's
obviously a
incredible.
it's a lovely little like nod to the PlayStation can have mind-boggling effects, which was
Hmm.
the image of Kingsfield skeletons.
I love this.
So then we got our table of contents, pretty standard stuff. There are some things in here that are explained in the manual that are not explained in the game. We'll spend a little bit more time with that, but it's sort of just what you would expect. You've got your story, character creation, combat, sort of the basics for the game. You got your controls. This can be played with gamepad and it plays really well. If you are interested in playing this game and have a Steam Deck, it's an excellent way to play the game.
Hmm.
I'm going to play with
Okay.
mouse and keyboard because that is how I've spent most of my time playing this game. Let's see what we got next. The story.
Also, I was gonna let it go earlier when I said King's Quest instead of Kingsfield, and I was just like, don't call attention to it, Cole. It's fine. I tried to, I was like, I'm gonna mess this up. And so I was just like, Kingsfield, 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 not King's Quest. You're gonna fuck it up. And I just kept goofing it. And I was like, I'll be fine. And I did it. So I may have reinforced the King's Quest in my head. But just know that my soul left my body as it was happening.
We should always be reinforcing the King's Quest in our head. I'm not
I,
going to fault you for that.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. Words are hard.
Yeah. Um, so jumping to the story, we will see this when the game starts, but this is a quick summary of what the story is. Uh, Long ago, great beast came from the sea, and it spread a poisonous fog across the earth. This event transformed the world into a new age, an age of magic, but also an age of death. Creatures and abominations came from the fog. Silver liquid fell from the moon and made a deep passage into the earth. As humans became destitute, having fought and lost to creatures throughout the many years, they created the Great Well, a series of pits and tunnels carved out by the silver moonlight. And into this sunken heap they banished the abominations, creatures, and anything else undesirable. A simple thief, one who would steal back their life, has just been thrown into this strange underworld. I really like this because it has so many notes of like early video game manual of like it feels like a rough translation, things kind of jump around, there's like grammatical errors. It's a vague notion of the story. It very much feels like one of the an early manual that was sort of like translated half-heartedly or
Hmm.
literally translated instead of localized.
I like that it tells you it's like I feel like it's more mood setting.
That's an
Like
excellent way to talk about it.
there's a lot of words there where I'm like it's the vibes, but I'm gonna say moods here. But I'm like, oh okay, like I know it's the vibe check. Like I know what I'm kind of getting into, but I have also no idea. But it's enough for me to be like to opt in and be like, yes, this sounds good.
I
And I
think
feel
that
like a lot of games in the 90s. I don't think it was like a way to like bamboozle people, but I think with the internet it makes it far more difficult these days. But like you could have copy, whether it's in a newspaper or like a magazine ad or wherever, or inside another manual that could be like evocative of the story you were telling, even though it's not the story for another product. Um, yeah, it makes me think of actually Crow Country, which you mentioned earlier with the stuff that they're doing.
yeah. I also think that this is kind of neat because none of this stuff matters. Like this is not the
Yeah.
focus of the story. It is the mood setting like you said. It's just kind of like, all right, I have to have some sort of setup for you for why the world is like this. Weird beast came from the sea and the moon started leaking silver. Okay, you just got thrown down a well.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Creating.
So this game lets you create your character.
Oh, I didn't even consider that. I'm sorry, I got really excited.
Good, because we are going to create a boy shortly.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
it's not a super complex character creation system, but there are some things about it that I find really intriguing.
Mm.
There are classes that are sort of a mix between your class and like your origin and background. Some of them don't have big differences in how they play. It's just like your starting stats are slightly different. And then if you see at the bottom of each class name and description, there are resistances. So
Oh,
you can be
okay.
like a witch and be very resistant to light magic, or very susceptible to light magic, but more resistant to dark and ice. You can be a knight, but be very weak to poison and fire. and very resistant to light. Like kind of standard things, but if you play this game through multiple times, you can kind of have an idea of like, man, I really struggled in that place where the people use dark magic. Maybe I want to play somebody different. But then you have
Right.
weird classes like the vampire who not only have their own set of like stats and resistances, but they change the way that it plays because you get health back by inflicting damage on enemies.
Hmm.
You also take damage from standing and running water, and there's a lot of places in this game where like you can stand in running
Interesting.
water, and so now you have this sort of like push pull of okay, I'm really strong here, but I'm very susceptible to damage here,
Hmm.
which creates this really interesting way to play the game. Similarly, the undead class will there's a type of magic that uses your blood or your health to cast spells, but if you're undead and you use those spells, they will do extra damage because your blood is cursed.
Oh.
And so there are all these cute little things that aren't big deals, but are just unique little ways to kind of tweak the gameplay.
Sorry, I just looked down and saw Forsaken, driven forward only by self-loathing.
Yeah. It's that is like the
Me
I
too,
forget
bud.
that is just the like punished or I forget what all the titles are in the FromSoft games, but just like all the I want to start with no stats, super susceptible, super weak, no gifts,
The
that
naked
class.
class.
Yeah, just like the like super challenge run
Hmm.
class had to keep that in the game. So combat in this game is not, if you've ever played a Kingsfield game, you know that like combat is not the focus. It can be fun and enjoyable, but it's pretty simple. You've got sort of a basic quick attack, a charged attack, you've got blocking and magic, and that's kind of it. You'll see when we start playing, you can mix it up, and there are some fights that do ask you to mix things up pretty well, but it's very much like if this is a thing you like, you're going to love it, and if this is a thing that you're not a fan of, it's going to feel kind of tedious.
Mm.
So Magic and Lunacy, Magic is very much like the Kingsfield games, where everybody can cast magic. You don't actually get spells, you get equipment. So your magic is based on rings that you have.
Oh.
You can equip 2 rings, and the only difference that different classes have is your magic skill. It determines the damage that it will do, uh, how quickly you can cast it, and your overall like magic pool, how much MP you have.
Mm.
Which I think is pretty neat. It's a thing where like it doesn't lock anybody out, which is normally a thing I don't like. I don't like how the Elder Scrolls is like you can be the world's greatest fighter, thief, mage, assassin, but I kind of like how this is something that is accessible to everyone because the magic system kind of is limited in
Sure.
what you have access to. So lunacy is a special, I'm going to call it a stat for Lunacid. It is based on the number of spells that you cast, but also the real world cycle of the moon. And
Oh.
as your lunacy goes up, what happens is your magic becomes more powerful, but also you take more damage. But
Oh.
also you get more XP. So there are ways
Okay.
of like really min-maxing this and kind of doing a little bit of like some risky plays of using a lot of magic to really get your lunacy up there. That gets you more XP, which means that you can just go out and grind. Uh,
Sure.
Again, kind of risky, but if you know how the game plays, if you know the area, if you know the monsters, you can usually work around that stuff pretty
Hmm.
easily. But I always thought that this was a really cool thing, and the game doesn't really explain it. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's lunacy, that's a thing, and so you have to go to the manual to figure this stuff out.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
never like I don't often gravitate towards magic classes in anything. I like to hit things with a big stick.
mhm.
But the cuz like it's just like okay, cool, like I just have to watch my MP go down, right? But this is interesting and like oddly enticing for someone who doesn't play play magic classes very much. I don't know why it's appealing to me, but it is. I wish I could unpack that, but maybe it's the added layer of like when conceptually, if you're doing magic, like theoretically, you're further away from the cause of damage, so you're
Yeah,
safer. I don't know. I have to unpack that a little bit. I don't know, but this is appealing to me as someone who doesn't generally go that route.
I will also say that I think we'll get a little bit of this today. Um, and I talked a little bit about it earlier, but like I started off with I'm trying to think what my main character was. It might have been a knight, but at a certain point I was just like, I'm just gonna start dumping points into my magic skills. And so
Hmm.
yeah, like Lord Kittenfoot just says, like now it's kind of a hybrid class where I have magic that I can cast really quickly. It's pretty strong. I have a big magic pool. Also, I like do a lot of damage if you get close to me and I hit you with my sword. Uh, it's just a really fun thing that exists, and I imagine that for some people when they start playing it, they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so overpowered because you can just sit and grind and level up." But there's definitely some walls and some checks at certain points of
Sure.
just kind of bosses that I have some feelings about, but they definitely are just like, "Hey, I sure hope you're level 50 because this fight's gonna take a while." Uh, so we got leveling up and upgrading your weapons. I'll show that off when we get to it. Uh, it's a little bit unique. It is not that special. We got some status effects. We won't be able to see a ton of these because I don't think we're going to make it super far, but there's some really neat effects. Like Curse will just shut down some of the actions that you have. And
Oh.
what that'll do is it will visually put chains over part of your screen that symbolize like, hey, you can't use your weapon right now. You can't even see it. So you either need to use some sort of magic or you need to run away.
Cool.
Uh, Blindness will make your screen much darker. Slowness has you just like slowly moving through molasses, like really neat things that have very cool visual or physical changes to your character that would not really have been possible for the early Kingsfield games, but exist in this game and have been touched up to give a little bit better indication or sort of a bit more somatic component to them.
Mm.
And I think the final thing that we talk about are the elements, which the game says that there are six types, but there are not. There's also, I've already talked about blood and blood magic and blood weapons.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
There's also things that blend together. So you might get a fire light weapon. You might get a dark ice weapon.
Ah, yes, just like my decks in Magic the Gathering. I see.
Exactly.
I
You gotta be ready
see.
to counter and then summon zombies.
Wonderful.
Uh, and I think that these are a neat little addition because it adds a bit more complexity to it. I have some weapons that will fire. They have two elements to them. You shoot them and you do not know which element's going to fire. So
Oh, see, I
if
prefer that versus like games where when you fire a gun, the gun's just yelling at you or making joke.
yeah, there's I I think that this is interesting because there are certain areas like there's a weapon that I have that is firelight. And there
Oh,
are places where enemies are really susceptible to fire, but really resistant to light.
interesting.
And so you just have to keep popping off shots and hope that you get the right element Because if you don't, you end up staying there longer, which means that they can hit you. It's a
Sure.
really interesting little combo. NPCs, there are gonna be people that we talk to. There is a hub area, your sort of
Mm,
Fire Lake Shrine. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. The NPCs don't do a ton in this game. There are some who will deliver lore and backstory, but
sure. Friendship. I love it.
yeah, it's kind of similar to the Dark Souls series, where like you've got a couple that are you're like, oh yeah, friend Solaire, but by and large, people are just kind of like, eh.
Mm-hmm.
There is an alchemy system in this
Oh
game. It's a
no.
crafting
Okay.
system. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It is like both neat and kind of basic. You can make some neat stuff, but by and large, I just kind of ignore it. Every now and again, I'll go in and be like, can I make more health potions? Can I make more throwing daggers? But it's just sort of a system there to be like, hey, all this stuff that you're picking up, you can use it for a thing. And that
Great.
is that
I
is
never do any if alchemy or crafting when they're like, "Do you want to do that?" I'm like, "No, can I just buy it? Can I just buy the potion?"
Yeah, there is a shop. You can buy stuff. It's like I think that it's fine. I sort of feel like it is a little bit tacked on, but
Hmm.
yeah, I guess that is it for the manual. So I think with that, we should probably dive into this game because we got to make a
Let's make
boy.
a boy.
All right.
I didn't even so when Val said, "Hey, I'm going to play this game." I was like, "Great. I am aware of it enough to know that it is a game that exists and I'm going to try really hard not to investigate." So I didn't. So I don't know too terribly much and I'm very excited about it. And so I didn't know we were going to make a boy.
Whoops, that is off. I do want to get an audio check. I tried to test the audio levels, and I think that we are good, but I don't know for sure. So, chat, let us know if things are too loud, too soft. This game has good music. I want to make sure that you get a chance to hear it. And also, sometimes there's loud noises like that, so I didn't want to blow your ears out.
I did a
Let's.
I did a quick check by muting me and you here in the game and it looks like it's okay.
Perfect. All right.
We
Well,
got some butts in the chat,
yeah, ignore this
which
boy.
doesn't answer the question, but ignore this boy.
Okay. We're gonna
Were you playing butts and then you're like, "Well, we hit level 69, so we're done here?"
kind of. Truth be told, I was level 68 and I was getting towards the end, and I was just like, I'm gonna hit level 69, just stop there. It's funnier that way. But
It
this
is funnier.
is my character from when the game first came out. I will talk
Mm.
a little bit about that as we get into the game. But let's get some story and make a boy.
Is that a giant fish? Oh, no, it's gone now.
It's a giant fish. It came from the sea.
Do we know what what engine they used for this?
I don't. That is not something I wrote down.
I'll see if I can find. I'm just curious. My guess is Unity, given the time frame it was made. But
Yeah, that would make sense.
Long
Unity.
ago, a great beast came from the sea and brought with it a poisonous fog that spread across the earth, corrupting everything it reached The poison fog slowly transformed the world and brought about a new age. Now, grounded by the poison sky and outnumbered by creatures, humankind became desperate and formed feudal kingdoms. Closed off from each other, they became paranoid and are on the brink of extinction. Those deemed undesirable, such as criminals or the ill, are cast out, banished into the depths of the Great Well, a pit of the diseased and undead. The Great Well is said to have but one door to the surface.
Giving me some Majora's Mask vibes, and I am not mad about it.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
The ground texture.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's a giant well.
Giant.
How did this guy not get tossed in with everybody else? Oh. Oh. Good sir? That seems a little dramatic, I'm just saying.
So we have to play Ethan Winters. Gotta get our hand back.
Welcome to Resident Evil 9.
Right. So here we go. We're making a character. First thing I want to acknowledge is the language that is used. You've got, like, beauty for your icon. You got class, nothing special. But also you have pronouns, which kind of don't matter. They don't really come up very often. But I like the fact that they have a myriad of pronouns, because I feel like science fiction and fantasy are the two places where people are really going to explore pronouns and identity. And it's just like a nice little thing where you can just be like, I want to roleplay as this person. And then they're just like, yeah, sure, do it. So we've talked a little bit about it. You know, you got your beauties, but I also want to point out that there are some spaces in the game for you to put up your own pictures. So for instance, I've got custom one. It's a bunch of rats in a suit of armor.
Where did that come from? Is it in the game? Or did you find it?
There's a community around this game, and somebody put together a bunch of personally made icons, and there's some really cool ones.
The style is like kind of matched, so that's why I was like, how did this happen?
Yeah, none of the other ones match, because the other ones that I added are like a weeaboo and then a Baldur's Gate 1 jump scare. But it's very fun. I like that you can do that. I wish that there were more spaces than just 3, because that was the thing that I really liked about like Baldur's Gate, was just going out and finding cool pictures, making them my avatar, playing the character for 30 minutes, and then immediately making a new character.
Sure. I am Shrek today. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So any of these beauties?
You know which one is calling my name. There was one that was calling my name, and I was like, oh, that's a cool fella. And now you know which one I want.
I don't know that I do.
Well, I like that guy, the guy with the helmet. That was the first one. I was like, oh, hello. But now I'm a mouse fan. I want to be a bunch of mice in a suit.
I do like the idea
really
of being a bunch of mice in a suit of armor.
Because if anything is emblematic, that is us on this stream, is just 2 little mice just trying to get by.
Exactly. So we've got our classes here. I don't know if you thought at all about what we want to play. Like I said, a bunch of this stuff kind of doesn't matter. There are some with different play styles, but by and large, we can build however we want. I will say there is a shinobi.
You know how I like my ninjas.
You do.
Since you are the active participant, I'm gonna let you choose so it can cater towards what you're feeling. But I'm here for it.
So I don't know. I'm fine doing shinobi. Some quick notes on what we're like looking at stat-wise. Strength is your melee weapon, dex is a ranged weapon. Also, I think it's how high you can jump. Defense is your defense. Intelligence is your magic. Speed is how quickly you move, and it's actually a pretty important stat in this game. Not just for exploration, but like if you can outpace an enemy, you can circle around them a lot.
Got you. That makes sense.
And then resistance is just a general resistance. So, if we are playing a bunch of mice, I say we go with they them.
And I bet you, if Silver is here, we are all the they-thems. All the favorite they-thems. Because now we're furry little creatures, too.
Exactly.
This is for Silver.
Oh, yes. Unsert Your Crush. I played quite a bit of Fear and Hunger 1 and 2. It's a neat game that I absolutely cannot recommend to anybody. So what's our boy's name?
Gerald.
Gerald?
Gerald.
Like Gerald? Love it. Alright, let's
Gerald.
There we go. We got a Gerald. It's like a Branthony.
I need to screenshot this for myself. Please hold.
Alright.
This is I need to save Gerald.
Yeah.
Forever.
Is this our canon character now? Do we have to play Gerald whenever we play a game where we make a character?
I hope so.
Alright, I like it.
You have to speak it into existence, you know?
Alright, well, let's get Gerald out of this well.
Oh, the wobble in that was great too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is this the hand that got cut off?
Probably. So I think the implication of that is that, like, that was us, we fell down, and there's just a lot of dirt. I don't know.
It's kind of like an Elder Scrolls. We're starting in a prison.
Yeah, it's got some Elder Scrolls.
I guess the game is a prison this time, but we were captive somehow.
It's got some Elder Scrolls. It's got some. It's very much FromSoft with like Dark Souls, starting off in a prison. So I know that we said we were going to play this game, and I promise that we will. But I need to do some things first. So here's our menu.
Oh wow, great colors.
Great colors. I like it a lot.
So when you pause this in combat, does it pause the game?
Or absolutely not.
Okay, I didn't think so.
You've got your inventory. You have space for 2 weapons that you can swap between, 2 rings, and 5 items. We'll explore that a little bit more later. You've got your materials and game manual. But this is where I want to draw your attention. So this game has aesthetics. I stick with Midnight because it is the default, but you can change it to be VHS style with some film grain on it.
Oh.
PSX, which makes it really chunky. Vaporwave, which makes it a nightmare.
Oh my god.
Silent Hill, which gives it the like Silent Hill fog effect.
Got you. That
and
noise.
Clean. I'm gonna stick with Midnight because I don't think that it's visually noisy enough to be too much of a problem.
Yeah.
I
feel that.
This game has head bob. You might have noticed as we were looking around. I'm going to shut it off for our motion sick folk because it is... I like it. I think it gives a sense of like being in the game, but I also completely understand how bad it can be. I'm going to crank our FOV up to 80... I'm gonna
I was
keep it
gonna
at
say
80.
65 seems pretty narrow.
Let's apply. So usually 90 is what is recommended to fight motion sickness. I think 90 is a bit much for this game, despite the fact that it does have some first-person shooter style
Yeah, I think
camera and
even 80
aesthetics.
looks kind of wild in this. I mean, we're in a corridor, so of course it does, but
Yeah. And some of this is tight, so maybe we crank it down a little bit, 75. But I play at 65 and don't have a whole lot of problems. So here's the thing that I really wanted to show off. Retro, what's your favorite Kingsfield?
yeah, all of them. I've never played one.
Cool. Did you know that each Kingsfield has its own frame rate cap?
No.
So, like, you've got 60, you got 30. I can say no, but I can also say, hey, I really like Kingsfield 2. Give me that 17 frames per second.
Oh, I don't hate that. I actually love this.
It's really neat. And there's something else here. You might notice that, like, player speed cap is off. There are things like your movement and jump, velocity and speed that are affected by the frame rate.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually set this game to 20 frames per second and then tell the character speed cap to still work like it is running at 60. You can also tell it to cap at 20, which means that at a certain point, speed is worthless to put points into.
Sure.
But I think that this is a really nice little detail to be like, man, I cut my teeth on Kingsfield 4. I want that experience. I want that feeling. You know, give me the Kingsfield compass style.
Cool.
And then just like, yeah, that's what I want. And this game will be like, okay, here's what that would look like.
That's really cool because it's like, I don't even know how you would develop for that because how things are framed. That's just a lot. But it's so, like, this is not capitalizing on nostalgia. This is just like curated nostalgia. Like, this is not your synthwave music bundle that someone made over the weekend. That, no disrespect, but like to have like the different frame rates and things to be evocative of different game, like that is something.
Yeah,
And
I
compass style.
really like Kira's work. I'll talk a little bit about their work as we get into this. I think the last thing that I want to point out is that you've got some other options like always run on, NPC health being shown. You have a difficulty slider, which will affect some of the stuff on, like how much damage you take, how much damage you do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this game has some pretty good accessibility features for a one-person dev team. Okay, so now that we have procrastinated long enough, we're in it. We're gonna explore this well. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Ooh.
So the first thing we need to do, we gotta get a weapon.
So dark.
It's dark and it's scary.
There's some flowers or, yep, a flower.
Smoky.
Oh, and it's chilly.
Unfortunately, the statue has given us a replica sword,
Is this La Pietà? And
it sure is.
this is incredible.
So all of your items, I think all of your items, at least your weapons and rings, have a little bit of lore to them, which is very much a FromSoft thing. However, unlike FromSoft, they give you a bit more than just a sentence. And there aren't full sets, so you just kind of get to know something about the world instead of just like a line or two about it. Sometimes they're not super useful, like this gives us a pretty basic bit of lore. Sometimes they are far more informative or detailed and really help you flesh out the world. So now we got a little hand, just a little floaty hand.
Oh.
Come up to this. I want to read
And it is a floaty hand because you got bones in there.
Yeah. It's just a bunch of mice holding on to this hand as they swing themselves like a flail.
Perfect.
So you pointed out the flowers. These are actually materials
Okay.
that we can harvest. I don't think that we're going to get a lot of them because our luck is really low right now. But this is the stuff that you can work to harvest to make things at the Alchemist's. Here is your gym, which is your kind of your bonfire. Except it doesn't bring everybody back to life. I will also point out that this game does not autosave. You have to manually save always. So it's not hard to accidentally die and lose just a ton of progress.
Cool. That's the bane of my existence. Oh, so strong.
Yeah, so we've got our little quick attacks. We can also charge. If you look in the upper right-hand corner, we've got that green bar, which is how much we've built up. And that's your real damage dealer. Takes a little more time, but that's going to be how we do most of our damage, is like fully charged attacks. All right, so we gotta get to that final door.
All right.
I like this as like one of the first rooms that you see because it sets some stuff up. Like we see down below that there is a path. We're like, I don't know, I probably wouldn't survive that fall, but it suggests that there's something else here. We can also come over here and see that there is a sort of staircase or a ramp that has fallen away. If our jump was good enough, we could go up there right now.
Cool.
It's not really sequence breaking because ultimately you're going to go everywhere, but I do like the fact that this game is like, hey, you put a bunch of points into Dex, you can now get to hard to reach places, just like rewarding different types of builds. Okay, we got a couple paths. There's something shining over here.
Definitely not. Oh!
So here's our first
thing. Do a hit.
We got a snake. We got him.
He really did not like you.
He did not. There are not a lot of friendly NPCs down here.
Temple of Silence. What could go wrong?
Yeah, let's check it out. Just got a health vial laying around here. We got this creepy eye lock.
I absolutely do not like that door. Okay.
Yeah, it's not great.
Oh, it blinked! Oh, well.
Alright, we'll come back to that when we have a key. So do you want to go to the Hollow Basin? Do you want to check this other direction we...
Let's go to the Hollow Basin. We're right here. Let's see what's happening. Oh, we are going upward. Oh!
Hello.
Also a feller. Snail.
Just a snail. I'm really happy that they don't start you off with rats, but they do start you off with, like, something that feels like an equally level 1 enemy.
Yeah.
So we should probably talk about this game a little bit. Not just the game, but, like, what it is and its development. So this is Lunacid. It was made by a single person, Kira, who you might know for their work on We've Made a Loop. They did Spooky's House of Jump Scares and Lost in Vivo are their other two big games. They've made several others. They have an itch page that I would recommend checking out. Kira, one I think is a really talented dev, as we pointed out, with like creating something that is very evocative by using or creating limitations that are similar to the games that they are referencing, but also just like the fact that all of this stuff was done by one person, and this game was originally launched in March of 2022, and then 1.0, it was in early access until October 2023. So like within a little over a year, put out this full game that is like super beloved and very reminiscent of Kingsfield style games.
Is this like a metallic snail? Because I know it said milk snail, but
Yeah, there's something different. Oh no. There's something different about this snail. You can kind of see that it's got like
yeah.
a pearlescent style shell where the other ones are just kind of a standard snail shell.
Didn't like it.
Didn't like it.
Hardy guy.
Way more health, that guy.
So you said this game was in development for a year?
A little over a year. Well, like early access
Sure.
to 1.0, a little over a year. They definitely spent more time working on it before then.
That's even a nice early access turnaround, because sometimes games never leave.
Yeah.
Oh,
I will say that Kira has a pretty good track record with games, and so that's part of the reason why I bought in at early access point.
Sure.
Because I was just kind of like, I don't like everything that they make, but I can see where it comes from, and I find I want to support them. Lost in Vivo is very much an homage to Silent Hill, Resident Evil, like sort of PSX horror games. It didn't quite jive with me quite right, but I was still just like, I want to see what they do with this. So real quick, we've got a little bit of lore here. Usually these will sort of tell you like what the spell does, but also who made it, why. This one just summons a spectral orb of light that follows the caster around for 60 seconds. It's useful for illuminating the depths of the well, so we'll go ahead and equip it. I don't have any other rings equipped. Go ahead.
I ain't mad about a light.
Yeah. So to cast the spell, I have to focus until that light gets fully filled up. And now it's kind of hard to see because it's a bright area, but I got this little light orb following me around. So if we ever go somewhere dark, we can illuminate it. Let's check what's over here.
It also is making me think about like mid-90s Tomb Raider.
I can see that. This area in particular, now that you say that, feels very evocative with...
I feel like there should be some raptors and a wolf and a bear.
Yeah. Like the first large area of Tomb Raider 1, this feels very similar to.
So you're not killing the giant pill bug creature?
The Morrowind creatures, I am not.
Okay. He doesn't seem... Is it like a neutral...
I think so. I don't think I've ever gotten these things to attack me.
Cool. Love it.
It's fine. There will be plenty of other things that attack me later.
I just didn't know if there was like a reason.
Terribly. I think that we are probably pretty good on experience right now. When we get back to the crystal, I will level up and show you what the leveling up looks like. You can murder pretty much everything with the exception of some NPCs that we'll meet here shortly, but sometimes you just get to a point where you're like, I'm good, I don't want to... There's so much fighting in this game. I don't want to do more.
That.
So we got a new ring.
Aimed spear. Oh, type aggressive. Okay.
Yeah. This is a pretty fun little starting spell. It allows you to just throw a fire bolt, and it lets you know that it's created by the pyromancer Fire Witch Ashley.
Thanks, Fire Witch Ashley.
Support your work. So we come around this corner and oh, who's that?
Who is that?
We know this person. She's in the manual.
Oh, so true.
Hello. Well, you look a little lost.
Oh, her name's Demi. That's fine. Like a demigod.
Oh, I was thinking like a demi. Like a demon.
Oh, that too. Why not both?
Yeah. We don't know.
¿Por qué los dos?
She could be the final boss. We could be ferrying her to the exit of the well.
So true.
Or Demi Moore.
Oh, like Demi Moore.
This area is called Hollow Basin. It's the highest reach point of the Great Well. It's also one of the safest areas of the Great Well, except of course, Wings Rest. Speaking of Wings Rest, I can spirit you there if you want. I'm gonna say no, because this is kind of a little trick. We'll do this in a second.
Okay.
But much like pretty much every FromSoft game, this game is a bunch of loops, and it feeds back on itself. So we open that door, and it brings us back to our starting room.
La Pieta.
So there's a decent amount of... I'll do that later. There's a decent amount of, like, exploring in that question of, okay, do I do this now or do I do this now? Which one of these is going to open the path and which one is going to take me to a new place with this game? Which can be kind of anxiety-provoking because, like I said, the game doesn't save. So if you have made a lot of progress and are low health, like it can be kind of anxiety-provoking to be like, I need to pick a path and just hope it's the right one.
Right.
But I think that the layouts of these levels, one, is fairly readable once you spend a little time with each area, but also, I don't know, I think that the looping system works pretty well. Ooh. So this is Wings Rest. This is our Fire Lake Shrine. It's our little hub place where we can go around. We've got NPCs. Demi does not want to talk to us.
Demi, hello? Demi? She's so rude.
So rude.
Is this like a little kinku? Is that what they're called?
I think so. Why does nobody want to talk to us? Is it because we're a bunch of mice in a suit of armor?
Are they being a racist against Gerald?
Huh. Okay, we'll start with this. So you can upgrade your weapons, but their system is very different. Where normally it would be like, bring me a bunch of items, pay me some money, I'll upgrade your weapon. These weapons require you to use them and get experience with the weapon. And once they get to their like full XP, you can come back here, dip it into the, I believe it's the blacksmith's oil, and it will then make your weapon better.
Cool.
I think it's a pretty neat system. It becomes kind of a pain later on when you find like really low level equipment that doesn't do a ton of damage and you want to level it up. But I think I like it a little bit more than just, hey, bring me some ore.
Yeah. And I also like that in order to level it up, it like forces you to spend time with it.
Yeah. I think that that's a pretty neat way of being like, hey, try out different weapons. Like, it's very easy to stick with one. Maybe you like quick and fast weapons that do a little bit of damage, but like, have you tried a club? They're pretty good.
Salutations.
Welcome to the depths. I'm Etna. I study the sacred art of alchemy down here. If you happen on any materials during your journey, you should bring them to me. Do you want to do some alchemy? Yeah, so like I said, this is the alchemy table. It works decently well. Like, if you put stuff on there, it'll usually say, like, here are the other things that you can use with it to possibly make an object.
Okay,
So you're not...
it's not like Hot Garbo, like Breath of the Wild, hope for the best, you'll make something.
Yeah, you're not just throwing like, all right, I've tried, herbs and ashes with bark. Now let's try herbs and ashes with mushrooms.
Got you. Cool.
You eventually will be able to have formulas. Like, I already have some.
Cool.
There's a lot of things you can make.
Make some throwing knives.
Throwing knives are good. I'm going to give this one more shot. We've been streaming for about an hour, so I think maybe we take a quick break. I see if we can get this up and running, because we actually need something from our bird friend here. So, I'm going to throw us to the BRB screen. Everybody get up. Do some pro gamer wiggles. Take a bio break. Hydrate. I will try and get this fixed, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Share the screen.
Okay.
Hello, and welcome back. Whoa.
Creepy. There we go. Okay.
Gerald's been put in timeout. Gerald is too powerful.
Gerald would not talk to people, and we found out that apparently that's just a bug that sometimes happens.
And apparently, when you're multiple mice in a suit of armor, not the problem. Honestly, you know what? We've talked about this, I feel like, on streams before. Not this stream because this is the first one, but in general, sometimes you say something out loud and it is so powerful, you have to write it down and then you have to find it a home somewhere else in another idea. That just happened.
Yeah. And listen, I wouldn't talk to these people if we didn't need a key from the crow. Mood.
So... So what did... Gerald needs to work on their people skills. So true. So I didn't see what we did other than did you like rally, did you erase your first slot and rally to the...
We probably could do that. But we're here now. So we're
No, that's fine. I'm just trying to, because like you needed to talk to them to get something, right?
Yes. So here's what I did. I switched over to Val, my first character, who is a little bit more powerful, has done some experience, some leveling up, has some experience.
Some experiences.
Yeah. I'm going to try and keep things relatively close to like what the experience was moving forward, but what we needed was this enchanted key that we could get from Cheryl the Crow. Cheryl sells you things.
I can't get over Cheryl the Crow, and apparently Unsecret Crush cannot either.
She's pretty good. Yeah, exactly. Cheryl the Crow, Demi Moore.
Demi Moore, Cheryl Crow.
It's just a real who's who up here.
What are we doing?
So there's this thing over here.
Let's get it.
I can't get it. I'll try a few more times, but here is what happened, and here's what we're going to do moving forward. We switched over to Val so that we can keep playing. Got it.
Well, you got it.
I'm going to just go through the area that we saw the locked eye door thing and kind of keep going from there. We've got some different people around here. We've got Clive. Clive gives you exposition. Clive's a skeleton that just keeps throwing back healing potions, even though they don't do anything to help them.
Keeps them talking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna skip this. Hey, you're fine.
You're like, I expected this.
Yeah. these are interesting, and you will hear more about many of these characters. It's he's very much a character for people who like the lore of this world.
I mean, I love him.
He's a fun character. He just doesn't do anything besides expositing lore. He just sits there and drinks health potions all day.
His hips upset me.
Yeah.
And maybe it's with my own flexibility or something. I don't know. I see those bones and I'm mad.
Yeah. It's wild. We're looking respectfully. But we gotta get out of here. We gotta go explore more of this place.
So... Oh, no, never mind. That was a dumb question. I answered it myself.
No dumb questions.
Well, I was like, oh, we have embodied the spirit of Gerald here.
Yes.
But you had equipped it. You did not have the same weapon. You equipped the old weapon.
Correct. I think I was leveling up a ritual dagger. Oh, I guess I maxed it out.
No big deal.
Well, it's fine. It's a starter weapon, but it's a poison weapon, and my character, the Val character, is a thief, and so I was like, oh, that makes sense. That's role playing. I can do that. The ritual dagger's not a great weapon, so I'm kind of happy to be going back to the replica sword. I also have... I gotta remember how I switch my weapons. I also have a torch, which I'm not going to use because I still have my little magic light. But yeah, we're going to go explore. So this is, you know, like with the bonfires, you can use this to fast travel to different areas. Most of them are connected in some way. Wings Rest is, I think, the one that is out.
I'm assuming the textures around those circular spaces are they? I'm assuming evocative of like the landscape you get teleported to.
I kind of believe so. So this is going deeper into the well.
Sure. It makes me think of like spiders' eyeballs though, and that I hate. Emotionally and mentally. I don't have, what is it? Is it trypophobia or whatever with the whole, I don't have that. But looking at that, and maybe it was the movement behind, was very unsettling to me in a way. So we are playing a horror game. But we've been here before.
We have. So we're going to go back to that first place we went to with the weird eyeball door.
Ah, yes. And that's the enchanted key we needed, yes?
Yes. I'm going the wrong way.
So, do enemies regenerate in this?
Yes.
Is it when you save?
I believe it is when you save.
When you touch crystal, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I'm so sorry.
I don't think it is when you touch crystal, because I think that you can level up, but if you save or fast travel, I believe they respawn. We're gonna run by all these snails. Because I think I want to check something. I need to try and figure out where I'm at. Dang it. Okay, we'll get back there though. So we use that enchanted key that Sheryl Crow had. And now we get to go to this little temple area.
What she wants to do is have some fun.
Exactly. Which is why she's hanging out at Wings Rest and not
She's not
out
the only
here.
one. Yeah. God, I'm gonna have Sheryl Crow stuck in my head. I dated someone who really loved Sheryl Crow, and since we broke up, I have not listened to her since.
Cheryl Crow, come on the stream. Help us recover from traumas.
Yeah, it's been well over 10 years, but
Yeah,
I
so
hope you're
now we
doing
are
well.
in a new little, like, temple area.
Ooh,
It's very
it's so
dark.
spooky.
It's very spooky. It's very mysterious. There are these guys all over the place.
Oh, don't like that. Are they statues? Are they people? Enemies that are in
They
slumber
seem like
mode?
statues. Oh no, that one's up and moving.
Okay.
It's Mummy.
It's interesting that, like, I mean, I guess you could create new environments with, like, the different lighting effects, but I feel like all of, like, looking at this, like, the capture you're sending me is probably what you're seeing, and then the stream is a little bit lighter for visibility. And I feel like without the different lighting modes in these spaces, they still read as very different environments.
Yeah.
And it is very cool still that there's these like different lighting effects, whether it's this torch or the orb that follows you, because it adds, you know, it has the Silent Hill fog effect, right? Where you can only see so far ahead of you. But like, regardless of that, it's still spooky.
Yeah, I think that they do a really good job of separating spaces in the world. Every place, there are places that you're like, okay, this feels a little bit like this other place, but it's still very distinct. If I were to play like GeoGuessr and Lunacid, I could pretty quickly be like, I don't know exactly where this is on the map, but I know what area I'm in.
Do they do that? I would love, like, do they do GeoGuessr in games at all? Because that would be incredible.
They definitely do it for Genshin.
I would be doo-doo for that, but I'm glad that it exists.
Yeah.
I want it and I need it.
You should watch on Secret Crush do it, because she's very good at it.
I would love to go to there.
Right. I don't want to get surprised by this mummy, so I'm going to take him out. So I talked a little bit about combat being just kind of like whatever. This is combat.
This is combat.
It's a lot of circle strafing. It's a lot of hitting, backing up, hitting, hoping they don't cast a spell.
Can you block and or parry?
You can block. You cannot parry. That would be a lot to ask for a Kingsfield game.
That's fair. I'm not a parrier. I'm a smack run.
That's fair. Soon we'll be free of the accursed well, for great Prophet Abdul has found a way out. While we are tethered here physically, our minds can be extricated with enlightenment.
Someone's drinking funny juice.
Yeah. I also like that each area kind of has different factions to it. So they will have people who have different things going on, who maybe have different ideas about like how to get out of the well.
Yeah.
There are times that there will be wars between different factions. I think that and this is kind of what I meant when I said like the story of you, what happened to Earth and how you got down here is not important.
Yeah.
What is important is like you navigating the space and learning about all the other people who are down here.
Totally. And it's interesting too that like you could leave it at that, right? Like you meet the people you meet or the enemies, right? But for them to have like infighting and stuff like just builds up the world around you. But then you also have like the whole thing of like you're all like sick thieves, you're the ne'er-do-wellers or unfortunate souls that are not, according to them, suited for the world above.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that there's like you have a space that's safe for a skeleton to drink and like for commerce and stuff. Like you would think if it was a bunch of ne'er-do-wellers, it'd be just a lot of backstabbing and bullshit. You know,
Yeah.
but there's the ecosystem, nature is healing. You know,
Yeah. It is very much just like I think that you could say that narratively, Kira's just like, I need a reason to build this world within our own.
Yeah.
And so they were just like, well, weird stuff happened, and so there's this subterranean world where people just kind of replicated, I'm going to say feudalism, but I mostly mean like monarchic rule and there are different groups that work together or isolate themselves, and they have feuds. It's fun. It's interesting. I like it. Speaking of I like it, I was really hoping that I could pick this up and be all surprised, but I already had it. This is one of my favorite magic spells in the game. It doesn't do anything. It just gives sentience to non-sentient objects, inanimate objects.
Objects only scream.
Yeah. So... Oops. I forgot. It takes forever to make. Almost there. I also died because it used all of my blood. But yeah, the objects just scream. I also think that that's a really good piece of world building because we heard a little bit about Abdul, and Abdul's the person who made that spell. And so, like, you can clear... I mean, on top of the whole, like, Abdul, the Mad King, there's the whole, like, oh, let's drive this home. Like, this person just forces sentience onto inanimate objects.
Yeah, that's wild.
So again, world building. It's great. Alright, I want to get a little bit further.
Yeah.
So we are probably going to kind of skip that temple, even though I think it's a really cool place. It's really neat the first time around because at first all those mummies are sitting down, they aren't doing anything. You make it a really deep way through the temple before they eventually get up.
Okay.
And you're not particularly strong by this point, and so it's a thing where you're like trying to fight your way out, and you're not sure which mummies are alive and which ones aren't. They're pretty resistant to slashing damage, so they're going to take a lot of hits. It's a good moment of horror, but unfortunately, Gerald will not be able to see that today.
Gerald. I'm obsessed with this game. I'm not even the one playing it.
This game is really neat. It has a bunch of secrets. I think I can show you one.
How long, like, in general, the average playthrough?
I'm not sure. In part because there's a lot of different ways to play this game.
Sure.
You can look around for lore, you can look around for... there's secret stuff and a secret ending, and I happened to stumble across some of the secret stuff to get the secret ending as I was playing it my first time through, and I was just like, what is this? I need to figure out what is going on with this.
Cool.
And so it meant that I spent way more time mapping out areas and trying to find things like I'm doing now. Alright, so if you ever play a Kira game, they love fake walls. So if you rub your face all over the walls, you will eventually find fake walls.
Okay. Does it just move on contact, or do you have to? Are you mashing a button as well?
Oh, goddammit. Tell you what, I'm just gonna grab this. This is the item that I found that I was just like, what the fuck?
VHS tape acquired, of course.
Yeah, you find a VHS tape. Let's get somewhere safe so we can look at that and aren't poisoned. What happens is you rub your face along the wall, and eventually you just see a question mark.
Oh, okay.
So you might have noticed as we were talking to people, it says like talk in the lower left-hand side, or if you want to use something, it says use. So you just kind of have to like rub your face along it and look in the lower left and wait until you see a
Gotcha.
sign
The
that says
textures in this area make me think of Tenchu.
I can see that. The kind of like yellowish of some of the palace with the torchlight.
Yep.
Alright. Get me somewhere safe. Away from these nerds so I can look at this VHS tape.
So you were poisoned and then it faded. So are all the status effects temporary, or some of them have to be removed by potions or some sort of antidote?
To my knowledge, they are all temporary with you do have things like antidotes and things that will decurse you, but you have to have those equipped because
Sure.
if you don't, you're just like going into a fight and then jumping into the menu and trying to navigate that stuff.
Right.
Usually it's not a huge
The
issue.
textures of that door. Sorry.
It's good. Usually it's not a huge issue, but if you are like in a fight and taking hits, it will whittle you down pretty quick. So yeah, you just like this world tries to stay pretty coherent with what it is, which is like a fantasy horror setting. And so all of a sudden when I found this VHS tape, I was just like, it kind of broke for me in a positive way because I was just like, what the hell is this? Why is this here? I'm also aware of Kira's other work, so I'm like, all right, this is really interesting. I want to know what do I do with this? And there's like a whole side quest that never shows up. Nobody ever talks about it. It is just a thing that if you happen to go to the right places and find the right things, you start finding out more and more stuff, and you start like kind of getting orders.
Is there this is a genuine question, is there an opposite word for like anachronism? Because usually isn't that like
Appearance?
a old-timey thing in like a contemporary setting or something?
Coherence is the
like,
only thing that I can think of, but there has to be some other word, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but like what's interesting is like you could like it's a very cool game design choice, right? Because like the secret could have been anything, like a book could have still been in this world, but to choose the VHS is so like fourth wall breaking and like exciting because like you have the context of Kira's other work, so you immediately have the breadcrumb trail, but like me or another player who doesn't have full context, we might still get that breadcrumb in a different way.
Definitely.
But it like the VHS pulls it out of like this realm, so like that's like a bigger carrot to hang, and that's very cool.
I also think that if you play this game, and I would encourage you to check it out, Gerald's cousin's over there freaking out. But if you want to,
sorry,
Jimothy,
I'm just naming all the rodents.
I think that if you choose to pursue this quest, it will start to make sense. So I do think that you are right that me having Kira's other work at the forefront of my mind helped with that. But there is a secret message to this game that's it's part of the reason why I chose this to be the first game.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't think we're going to talk about it. Maybe someday it will just slip out, but I think that this game is really neat. I think it has a cool world. There are some challenges to it, but by and large, I'm just like, go grind. Put on a podcast, go grind, and eventually you will just smack the crap out of whatever boss you come up against.
You love to see it.
Yeah. Well, let's hit up that rest area real quick.
Yeah.
Buddy. So we talked a little bit earlier about every area feeling kind of distinct. There we go. Yeah, you like that, don't you? I smell Jimothy on me, or Gerald. This is kind of the area that I was thinking of when I was like, this area is distinct, but it feels kind of like a mashup. It has a lot of the, like, it is clearly a sewer.
Yeah.
But it has a lot of, like, temple-style feeling with the bricks and the large pillars. It also kind of feels like the basin with all the water and moss and algae and slimes. And so this is kind of what I mean. I'm like, it is unique, and also it feels like this makes sense next to the temple and next to the basin. Get out of here.
It's a very durable slime.
Yeah. I wish I had more fire spell. There's one fire spell that's so good if you can just get things to stand still. I should get enough XP to level up so that I can show you what leveling up looks like. There we go. There we go. Now you're on fire. I also like that this game allows you to like swing your weapon and okay, I have enough XP. And charge your magic at the same time.
That is nice.
Yeah, especially if you do like the hybrid thing that we were talking about earlier. I could hit him with the torch, but that's an excellent point.
But you would have to be in the menu to switch over.
I got it on the queue.
Oh, nice.
But oh, sorry, I didn't scare you.
Did you just do a hit to a friend?
No, I startled. Spooked him.
Oh, okay, okay.
But if you do that like hybrid build, your casting time goes down really significantly, and so you just end up blowing through spell after spell after spell, and so you just cycle through spell, spell, attack, spell, spell, attack, and you just kind of become a whirling dervish of damage.
Whirling dervish.
So this is the level up. I believe you get 3 points for every level. And then it's just kind of a standard FromSoft style, like, you put it in and it says, like, here's what this is going to do for you. And then also, when you highlight it, it'll tell you what
nice.
each stat does, which is appreciated because FromSoft doesn't always do that, and that's kind of frustrating.
I'm always just like, wait, I got a new weapon. Can I use it? Strength or dex? Which one is it? What do you want? Yeah.
Yeah. Fortunately, this does the Kingsfield thing of just like, are you swinging it? Okay, that's a strength weapon. Are you shooting it? All right, that's a dex weapon. Are you casting it? Okay, that's an int weapon. It's super handy, super straightforward. And then, like I said, you know, Butts has a ton of points in everything. I think that there is probably a soft cap at some point for some stats. I kind of don't know what they are. I've stopped putting points into things like speed because Butts is already just super fast, and at a certain point I'm going to lose control. So now a bunch of my points are going into like defense or casting so that I can survive a little bit more, because I am now at the point where I should probably be doing more grinding. Because the enemies are using a lot more of their status effects, and they have way more health, they're way more resistant to my spells.
Fair.
Gotta set this thing on fire.
I like your laser beams.
I don't even know if I'm... Yeah. See, there's an antidote. That would have helped me previously. And we just begin rubbing our faces all over every room.
Oh, I was like, what was I gonna say? We were in the sewer room again, and I have a theory that, not like all great games, but many great games have a sewers area. So if you put a sewer level in your game, like, chances are, might be great.
I feel like there are a lot of people who would challenge that hypothesis.
Oh, you got Ninja Turtle, you got Turtles in Time, sewer. Prison City, sewer. This game, sewer.
Empire the Masquerade, sewer.
Super Mario 64, you could argue where you get Metal Mario, sewer. Such a good game. Mario Sunshine has pipes underground in Metropolitan Island area. Final Fantasy VIII, sewer. Oh, what is that? Little question mark.
Got a question mark. Gotta let Timothy in here.
This rat was following us. Is he like a friend? Is he like enchanted somehow?
No, it feels like it, because it keeps coming up to us.
Well, One time I was in the Rocky Mountain National Park, and I was on a trail, and we went up. I guess it was a mountain, a very large hill. We went up a mountain, and when we got up there, there was like a plateau area, and there was like flat-ish hiking. But when we got up there, it was like wooded, and the trail there was like literally it was like a mouse ran up to us, and then like turned around and ran away, but like turned back at us and was like, "Are you coming?" And I was with some people, and I was like, "Are we? Is this like Redwall, but like breaking the fourth wall? Like, do we need to help him?"
Breaking the fourth red wall.
Yeah, because I was just like, what do we need? Is there's an Abbey? Is the Abbey in trouble? Like, what do we need to do? Because it wasn't like he was coming at us like wanting food. It was very much like a come follow me. And it was very odd. And you're nodding at this slime, and the slime is red. Oh, he has the slime has a ring.
Yeah. It's Jalisha.
Jalisha? Well, hi there, cute Jalisha. We just met. My God.
Everybody's favorite slime girl, Jalisha.
Jalisha's a very good name, though.
It's very good. I know what you're thinking. What's a cute gal like me doing here? Well, this is actually where I live.
Oh, sorry that we just bumped into your home.
I also really love, I love her for multiple reasons. One is that she is behind 3 hidden walls. Like, you have to go find a hidden wall, and then it takes you to just kind of a dead end. Then you crack that one, you find the hidden wall there, and then it takes you to a little area with an item. But if you keep exploring, there's another hidden wall, and then there's Jalisha.
And the true gift of all is meeting Jalisha.
Exactly. All the meaty sludge and sewage is great for the complexion. Hey, if you're going to be around, do you mind helping me out? Absolutely. You got it. My boyfriend, Bonard, has been missing. If you find out what happened to him, just come back and let me know.
No. But
let me know if you find out what happened to Bonard.
Wouldn't you be like, bring him home safely? I feel like that's like the Ghost of Tsushima thing. They're like, bring my family back, and it's like, sir, you've got them ducked. It's like, no, sir. And then they get mad at you. But she's like, just let me know what happened.
Yeah. I also like that all of these songs have attributions. It makes it very easy to find the song that you are looking for in the OST. Also, a lot of musicians / game devs worked on this game.
I've noticed a few different names, and that's very cool.
Yeah. But yeah. Bonard, I think I had some other concerns, like, I don't know. Bonard's a skeleton, how are we gonna find him? There's a lot of skeletons here.
I mean, is it Clive Bonard? Is Bonard his surname?
Is he running away from his responsibilities?
On Secret Crush is asking, is it inappropriate to ask Jalisha on a date? I feel like maybe...
I wish we could.
Here's the thing. Is it more inappropriate before or after we know what happens to him?
Is it immediately after? Like, if we find out something bad has happened to Bonard.
Just be like, baby girl, I'll be back in 2 months. You can grieve.
Listen, did we take out Bonard? And then
oh,
do we
no,
go back and say, like...
off an edge of the well? I don't know what happened. Maybe someone pushed him? So weird.
He just suddenly shows up with a sword between his ribs.
Yeah.
Confronts us, you know, soap opera style.
Sunken so nuts.
There's a fun bit of lore.
Is that supposed to be Abdul?
I don't know.
Sorry about Bonard. Let me know if you want to talk about it.
Okay, so here we got the sewer
get a
sewer.
coffee or something sometime.
This place stinks. I haven't talked about this very much, but this game is pretty... Metroidvania feels weird to say because you don't really get skills. You just have... Oh, look, it's our cousins. Rat King.
Oh. Are they friendly?
Not normally.
Oh!
They seem to be cool, but I'm gonna jump over here.
I like that one just showed up and was like, what's up, fam?
Yeah, just letting them know that we're good. We're cool. We're coming to the barbecue.
Yeah.
That seems less cool.
He joined them.
But this game does have a lot of options for where you can go. Like, this is not the first place that I went to after I did the temple the first time I played. I actually went to, like, an enchanted forest.
Is that Bonard?
Doesn't seem like it.
I mean, it seems like a jelly with bones in it. It just seemed... That seems rude.
Yep. I need to correct that behavior. I would really like it if you caught on fire. It's probably dark. Let's get a fairy light going. No.
The head bobble, like the rattles again.
I'm doing very poorly.
The health is not so good.
Yeah, I don't have any health potions. I'm gonna get out of here.
Do you have an antidote?
I think I do. I'm glad you said something. I'm gonna die before I get to it. Hey, look at that.
Oh.
Nobody look at me. I don't want to die.
I really hate these, like, splooges. Stalag...
Oh, yeah.
I don't like that.
I am not totally sure what those are supposed to be.
Calcite?
They are gross, though.
I don't like it. I think what's upsetting is it appears to be, like, a stone or something, but you know that it probably should be wet.
Oh, it's very wet. Everything down here is wet. We are gonna have to, like, cover ourselves in baking soda to make sure that we don't have mold growing on us when we get out of here. That guy's a jerk.
Oh, the gang's all here.
Oh. Evil slimes. Oh, I haven't talked about this yet. If you look in the top right under my spells, you see a little sliver.
Is that the moon?
That is my Lunacid, which I can actually pull up and look at my stats, is 13%.
Okay.
Still pretty low, but it's going up. Boy, it's a long way back to that crystal. And we are pretty close to wrapping up. So maybe we just call it here and go back to chat.
You do that?
Hey, Jimothy. We gotta come up with more names for Gerald's family.
I stayed at a B&B once and the lady's name was Geraldine.
I've heard of a Geraldine too.
Yeah. Are the rats supposed to be running alongside you? Because I love this.
I'm not sure. I've always seen them run away from me. I will admit, sometimes I have killed them. I don't think... If they give XP, it's not very much. But, yeah, these folks have been hanging out with us, have been real cool, so... No more rat murder in the future, at least not in Lunacid. Almost there.
No one's got time for that.
But yeah, I feel like this has been a decent little introduction to Lunacid. If any of this interests you, I would really recommend checking out the game. there's a lot to it. I think that it is. If you are somebody who likes Kingsfield, I'm going to switch us over to just chat.
I just grabbed the Steam page, so I'll toss that in chat. So you can wish list it.
Yeah.
If you so desire.
It's a neat game. If you like Kingsfield style games, if you like FromSoft's style of narrative delivery, I think that this game will scratch that itch, and in some ways it does it better. Yeah, it's a nice chill little game that I think is really reminiscent and useful if for people who like Kingsfield games, because they don't get the same love as you know, the Souls series or Armored Core now, or a lot of FromSoft's old games. Will we be doing complete playthroughs? So we've talked about it. I think that it's going to be kind of up to us and how we feel like we are doing the game itself, and also how the chat is feeling. I have kind of said I would be willing to do a full playthrough of this game. One, it would be very long, and there would probably be like just solo streams of me just grinding. I'm kind of neutral on this one. I don't know how Retro feels or how other people feel.
I mean, I really enjoy. I think we've talked about it, where I think the person playing really needs to be the one enjoying it, and I've been enjoying watching it. And so I'm game to continue if everybody else wants to watch it. I believe my first game, we probably won't finish it. Maybe. I don't remember what my first game is. There's a few though that I was like, all right, we know we can get a taste. But I don't know. This feels like a whole meal. I don't know. I would be happy to sit here and explore and get Gerald back into his groove, or just continue as Val.
Yeah, I think that if we continue, I would definitely bring Gerald back. I would go through, start a new game, get Gerald up to speed, and we would go through and do the temple, because even though I've kind of revealed what the temple is, I think the reveal itself is pretty cool. I didn't show you some neat rooms. But yeah, I guess we could do a full playthrough of this if people wanted to. I think that this is it has a lot to unpack, and also it could be pretty long. It may be a thing where maybe I do a lot of grinding and path it offline so that we kind of know what we want to do.
I think that's fair. I watch some people play like Bloodborne, and they'll do like blood vial farming off stream. So then when they get to a boss fight, they're like, cool, we don't have to play around. So I get it. I think I'm going to, now that we've started it, I think I'm going to start playing it in tangent a little bit, so I'll have a little bit of like first-hand experience, but I will be behind what we do on stream still, so it'll still be like a new experience, but I'll be able to talk about it a little bit more tangibly from my time. So you best believe I'm going to find Gerald's face and put Gerald on my Steam Deck.
Yeah, I can shoot you Gerald. There's actually a couple Geralds. One is a rat king, which is just a bunch of rats with a crown on. The other one looks like, I think it's supposed to be a mage, but I just like the idea of a bunch of rats in a suit of armor that you have no idea until the visor comes up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we can think about this. I don't think we have to do it right now. Part of me likes the super great friend approach of try out for an hour and then coming back to it later, but I also don't want to like start something and then a year later be like, hey, guess what, we're coming back and playing Lunacid. Brush up your Gerald lore.
That's true. Also, we will be archiving this on the YouTube, so we recognize that it's in the middle of the day, so y'all have, you know, work and doctor's appointments and things, or grocery shopping, you know, life. You have life out there, so if you do miss stream, we will have it archived, so if that sways your enjoyment at all with seeing Gerald's full life story, it'll always be there for you.
Absolutely.
Oh my
right.
god, we're getting name corrections in the chat. Oh, it's coming together.
I kind of like the idea that they are all named Gerald, and every Gerald is spelled differently.
The Royal Gerald instead of the
Exactly.
Royal we. Yeah. Oh my god.
All right. Well, this has
Well,
been
thank y'all so
the
much.
first
Yeah.
episode of Nostalgia Fuel. Thank you for showing up, everybody. We really appreciate it.
That's good.
Next week, we will be watching Retro play a game. It'll be on their channel. We're going to alternate. I don't know. Do you want to talk about what you were going to play, or do you want to keep it a mystery?
I'm gonna keep it a mystery for right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or I'm gonna just have you play Lunacid next week. Keep it going.
That's also an option. We can keep going.
Yeah, but mine's gonna be a secret until I decide which one is gonna be the first one, I guess.
That's
Because I
fair.
can't remember.
Yeah. We already have a list of like 40 plus games that we're like, we could do this one and we could do this one and what about this? So
And,
we have...
and it's fun because when we were like, cool, like what's the first game? What's the second game? And now I'm like, but also I feel like maybe if we do this one, we could play this one next and have a different conversation. So it's like I definitely feel like I low-key am Charlie Day with my red string on the wall. But that's exciting.
Yeah. Like we're definitely... I'm going to play Dread Delusion at some point soon because 1.0 is coming out. But also it's very similar to this. It's often referred to as a Morrowind-like, so there's a little bit of a difference, but part of me is like, we gotta get some space in between these two games. We cannot just start with a very specific first-person action fantasy game.
Nah. Only action fantasies all the time.
Alright, time to boot up some Heroes of Might and Magic.
Let's go. No, I think I'm torn between a few titles. Ukulele, because I've never played it. Sable, and then there's some others. But one of those two and more obscurely three options will be the first game I play.
Yeah, something to look forward to. Alright, well, Retro, you got anything else for the nice folks?
Ooh, we're nice folks. Where are they? No, I'm kidding.
Haha.
Got him. No, I will be streaming again Friday. I don't recall the time, but Tuesdays and Fridays are my stream time. I should know the time because I'm trying to be responsible and be orderly. So that'll be... I'm doing a stream for Play Ziggurat at 11 to 12, and then 12 to 2 will be on my channel. So a 3-hour block of me, baby. That's what I have going on. And it'll be the Slave Zero X episode Enyo Quake mod for an hour, and then we'll be playing our Goemon spiritual successor. We might finish it on Friday.
Very cool.
Yeah. What about you? Are you solo streaming at all?
I am not planning on it. I have taken on quite a few little projects and have busy things in my personal life, but like I might start doing some more solo streams, especially if we opt to like continue the legacy or the saga of Gerald. I might do some solo grindy streams just to get some stuff done. But I will announce that in the Discords and whatnot. Yeah.
Fantastico.
I think that's what we got for you folks today. Thank you all for coming out for the first episode of Nostalgia Fueled.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Everybody take care of yourselves, and we will see you next week, if not sooner.